What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to talk about 8 tips to be a much better wide receiver. Let's get started. All right, guys, so I believe the most important thing when it comes to route running for wide receivers is being a salesman, okay? You got to be able to sell one thing and make one thing only and make all your routes look like this, and that's the fade, okay? You got to make all your routes look the same. Everything's a fade until it's not. I hear that term a lot. I hear that phrase a lot, and I like that phrase because it's true. Everything you should make, even a slant, even a hitch, you're looking over this DB's outside shoulder, and you're trying to sell this fade, looking over his outside or his inside shoulder, depending on the route. But you got to make sure everything becomes a fade, and that comes a lot from your get off the ball. Are we just kind of cruising here, or when we get up to this break, are we just kind of bracing ourselves or bringing our pad level back? That's when we're not a salesman, guys. We have to be going 100 miles an hour off the ball every single time, looking over his outside or inside shoulder, going full speed, keeping our arms pumping, our head straight forward, and then sometimes we got to give it a little bit of head movement to get him off this platform. But primarily selling this fade, being a salesman, going 100 miles an hour full speed on every single route. Even when you're blocking, you should be selling a fade. Let's say he's 10 yards off and you got to go stock block him. We're going 100 miles an hour past him. We're trying to sell this fade. We want him on his heels, turning his hips every single time, guys. But the most important thing when it comes to route running, to getting separation, is being a salesman and selling the fade every single time. All right, guys, so now we're going to get into the beginning of the route. This is the second way to become a better wide receiver, and that's your get off, okay? You need to have a clean get off. You need to have an explosive get off, and the best thing to have that is no false step, okay? Because a lot of guys will come here and they'll be coming off this line, and let's say they'll be running an out or something like that. And they'll come here and they'll bring this step back and then they go forward. Now what that does is that's a false step. That screws up the timing with the quarterback, because timing with our quarterback is one of the most important things. But also what it does is it screws up the steps and the depth of our route. So the quarterback might think you'd be breaking off that third outside and you're going to be maybe a little bit deeper and he's going to throw you there, but you're really breaking off of essentially that second outside because you took that little false step, and then this ball is going to be coming in hot. We're not going to be able to get our head around fast enough. You know what I mean? So the best way to improve that is just work on your get-offs for about 5 yards. Have this front leg up, and we're just working on exploding off of this front leg and going, guys. But your get-off has to be fast. It has to be explosive, because that's the first part in order to sell this fade. If we have a weak get-off, we're not going to be selling this fade. We got to be exploding off the line every single time, making sure we sell this fade. All right, guys, so now we're going to talk about breaks on the ball. So this is going to be a break, like let's say we're running a curl, maybe a dig or a comeback or maybe a hitch. Well, a lot of guys are taught when they come up to this break, like let's say the break's right here, let's say this is a 10-yard in, right, 10-yard dig. Coming up here, taught to beat the drum, fast hands, fast feet, and come out of this thing, okay? Now, I'm not saying that's not fast. It could be actually pretty quick, but I'm a firm believer in the snap down method, which is 2 to maybe 3 steps, depending on the route, get in, get out of this break, okay? Now, what that is you're just pretty much, this comes back to selling the fade. We're pumping this thing full speed, and it's just essentially a stride where you could just drop your weight in stride, 1, 2, coming out of this thing on a dig. So what's faster? If we go up to this dig and we're like this, or we come up to this dig and we just go 1, 2, and we're in and out of this thing. So the snap down method is a great way to just hit this route fast as you can, maybe 2 to 3 steps, just get in and get out of the break. All right, guys, so we already talked about the breakdown method. Now we're going to talk about the speed cut method, or like I like to call it, a stick. You could work a stick off of a release also, but just a stick, putting our foot in the ground and being able to explode out of this thing, okay? Now, the most important thing with that is that it has to be aggressive and it has to be sudden, okay? Because it comes back to selling the fade like we talked about with the breakdown. We're going full speed. Let's say we're running a post, right? A post is off of a speed cut, maybe 3rd or 4th outside. We're coming out here and we put this foot in the ground. We got to be deceptive with it. We got to be sudden and aggressive to hopefully get this DB on these heels. Now, the other thing about this stick is we can't just come here and make it straight forward and then come out of this break. We got to get some head and shoulder movement, okay? So we got to be able to be here, make sure we turn our body, maybe turn this neck a little bit, because some DB techniques are taught to be looking at this wide receiver's neck, because wherever his neck goes, his body's going to go. But if we can come here, turn this neck, give a little head and shoulder movement, and then just be able to push off of this leg back up into the route, we're going to be able to get some separation. The goal of that would be either to get this DB on his heels so we could just undercut him, or to get him to turn his hips so we could even undercut him even more, and he won't be able to react. If the quarterback gets the ball out on time, we could be here. But the most important thing is we're able to come up and we're just aggressive with it, and we don't lean back, right? We're aggressive and we're pushing off of the inside, like where this Nike logo is, the inside of my shoe, so I can just push up, snap my head around, and be able to catch this ball. All right, guys, so now we're going to talk about releases off of the line. line, okay? Now, this is one of the most important things because anytime you get against press coverage, they're trying to jam you, we gotta have a plan off this line, guys, okay? And we're gonna get into our hand technique later, but the most important thing in regards to our feet is we have to be explosive, we have to be sudden with whatever move we decide to make, whether it's a quick jab or whether it's a slow play release, we gotta be sudden with it, okay? Now, the other thing is we gotta move our whole body there or else we're not gonna get anybody. I see this mistake made all the time. A guy will do a jab and they'll go like this, and they'll already be fully, completely into this route, and the step will be behind him. That's not gonna get any DB. You might as well just run right into it, okay? You gotta be able, when I'm making a jab here, I wanna be able to be here, like I'm making a crossover with a basketball. Anytime I do that, moving my whole body to hopefully get this DB to just move off of this platform a little bit, that's all we need. We just need the inches we need off of a release is very small because that's how we'll be able to get separation once we get up into this route. So we gotta make sure that we're moving our whole entire body. Even on a slow play release, say it's a hesitation hop, when I go 1, 2, I'm getting all the way over here. I see the common mistake all the time. Guys just pick this one up and put it back down. That's not moving the DB anywhere, you know what I mean? We wanna move this guy off of his platform, all right? That's the goal of any release, so we make sure we gotta move our whole entire body on this release and be real sudden with our feet. All right, guys, so now we're gonna talk about hand technique off of a release, okay? I think the most important thing about our hands is just always having a plan. You gotta have a plan for whatever this DB decides to do. I wish I had a DB out here to show you, but the goal of a DB is to get you right here in this shoulder to knock you off of this platform, okay? I'm sure you guys have all seen the video. I think it was Deion Sanders' kid where he pressed the guy off the line completely into the sideline at a camp. And the reason being is because this receiver was just here and he exposed his entire chest. Deion didn't come straight off the line and was off balance and tried to jam him, because all you do when the DB's here and he just tries to jam you, he's off balance, you know what I mean? You just pull his arms and then pull him by and then get up into this route, you know what I mean? That's easy work. But when he's here and he's got good technique like Deion's kid had, and you expose your chest, he's able to just put his arms right into you and drive you into the sideline. So you always got to keep these arms tight. Have these hands right here. You don't want to expose your chest. So if he does try to get here, you could just get his hands off. He comes here, hands off. Now, in this situation where you have to cross over, you always want to attack either his forearms or his elbows, or worst case scenario, the back of his shoulder. That's the points of attack right there. That's our points of control. And if we can attack those points of control, we'll be able to get his hands off of us. And when he doesn't have his hands on us, we should win every single time, guys. But the main thing is always keeping our hands tight and always having a plan. All right, guys, so the last thing I want to cover about releases is that you need to be very patient on certain releases, okay? There are some times when the guy's right up in our grill, we know he's probably going to be getting hands on us, we know he's going to give us a check off the line, that we're probably going to have to make a quick move, okay? That's probably one of the times where we don't want to be patient on this release, I guess you can say. But let's say he's about maybe 1 to 2 yards off. He's either going to play man bail or he's just going to bail out of there, and you see 2 high safeties or 1 high safety. Corners are bailing out of there. You probably think it's zone. That's maybe a scenario we might want to work this. We don't really have to. If you think it's zone, we probably just want to get up into this route. But this is like he's probably bailing on us a little bit. Going to try to force us into the sideline here. We want to be real patient with our release. This is like a slow play release. So anytime we're at the slow play release, we want to be patient, but we want to be quick with our feet, and we want to be sudden when we decide to make our move. So I can't just be here and come out. That's not going to work. That's not going to get any DB. You got to be able to be very patient but sudden. And when I decide to make this move, when I decide to make this crossover, I get up into this route and I'm explosive because my feet were sudden and aggressive, so I could burst up into this route and actually get some separation. Because when we're patient, we slide this DB off his platform. We slide him right or we slide him left when we're real patient. But when it is time to make our move, we have to be sudden and we have to explode off of that thing. All right, guys, so you can't make a receiver video without talking about hands, okay? Hands is the most important thing, because you could be an average route runner but catch every single ball thrown to you and you will play. But you could have terrible hands and be the greatest route runner on the planet and you won't get the ball and you won't play. So you've got to be able to catch. Now, we're going to talk about 2 ways that you can improve your hands, okay? The fastest way to do that is before every time you touch the field, you grab a quarterback, or you just get it if you have a jugs machine, or you could work this with tennis balls. You have 100 catches before you touch the field, before you even get into any footwork, before you worry about any of that other crap. You got to have 100 catches, okay? So you go here, I'll give you a routine. You go 10, 10, 10, and 10 over the shoulder, 10 over the shoulder. That's 50 catches right there, guys. You go 2 sets of that, and you'll have 100, and then you can get into the workout, whatever you do. It might take 15 to 30 minutes. That's easy work. And then the second thing, guys, is every time we catch this ball, we focus on catching it in our fingers here. Because when we hit the palms, the ball bounces off. and then we lose the grip of that thing. That's why it's real loud when it hits our hands. That's why the pros have so soft hands, is because they're in these fingers right here. They have a strong grip and they go to it. So that's the mechanics that you can work of catching this ball. Now, another thing that you can do in the weight room to improve that is a lot of grip work. So farmer's carries, working anything with the barbell with your thumbs out, just working on that grip strength, working on that forearm strength, but most importantly, catching this ball in our fingertips. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Please leave in the comments any questions or comments you guys have, and please like and subscribe to this channel. That would really mean a lot to me. I'll see you guys next time.